So this is going to be a bit of a tutorial on how to beat Sudoku.com's master, formerly known as Evil level. I've noticed some patterns that make it easy to get started every time you play this. I'm going to share those with you. It makes it really easy to kind of get a good start on the game to where you can fill in the rest with some more common strategies. So the first thing that's going to happen is I'm going to fill in 3 blocks vertically with the exception of 4 cells. And then from there, the rest of the game kind of plays itself. But what I always look for to start with is a block. That's one of these blocks that has 3 numbers in it. And adjacent to that block, laterally to the side, will be 2 rows with the same numbers. So here I see I've got a 2 and a 2 next to a block that has 3 numbers. That tells me this is my starting point. And because of that 8 and this 8, that cell has to be an 8. Now those 2's that were there allow me to fill in that 2. Then there's going to be 2 of the same number vertically, so these 2 7's force that to be a 7 there. Then I'm going to have 1 horizontal, 1 vertical that force a number, so that 9 and that 9 make this cell a 9. And then when I get to this point in the first block, I'm always able to fill in the rest of that column of whatever was the last number that I put in. So I can look at this and say, okay, I need a 1, 3, 4, 5. And I can see that this row has 1, 3, 5, so that one has to be the 4. So I still need the 1, 3, 5, so that has to be the 5 because of the 1 and 3. I still need a 1 and a 3. There's my 1. There's my 3. Now I can add this one, 4, and then I can add this one. Because of the 5 in this row, that's going to be a 5. And then I can easily fill in these. Those are going to be a 6 and an 8. There's my 6. There's my 8. And so these are the 4 cells left that I was referring to earlier. I usually just put notes in here. So I can see that my 2 has to be there. My 3 has to be there. The rest is going to be a 5, 9. So I fill in notes, and then I take my notes off. I used to do this level where I filled in all the notes on every square of every possibility, and that made it easier to solve them quickly. But I prefer playing this way to where I kind of use like instinct and intuition. Um, I find it more calming because I play Sudoku to kind of focus my mind. It's kind of a therapeutic thing. Anyway, so I've got my 3 blocks vertically except for those 4 cells. The next thing I do is look for low-hanging fruit among rows that are branching off of there. So I see that this row needs a, 4, 5, 6. Usually I can get that, so this block has a 4. That can't be a 5, must be a 6. The 4 is going to have to be there. That means my 5 is going to have to be there. Because of that 5 and that 5, one of those has to be a 5. You know, sometimes I can get more off of here. But after I kind of check these rows that only have 3 or 4 left, then I start to go through things serially looking for junctions, I should say. Anyway, so I can see that this row needs a 2, 6, 8, 9. I'm probably not going to get that. No, and I see this row needs a, I need a 4, 6, 7, 8. I'm not going to get that. So my next step is to kind of just click on numbers 1 through 9 in a row, and I look for junctions. I look for intersections that eliminate the low-hanging fruit. I also look for doubles. That's where you have 2 cells that can only be 2 numbers that allow you to eliminate those numbers as possibilities for the rest of that block or row or column, in which case I actually put notes in when I come to a double. All right, anyway, I'm talking too much and playing too little. So I'm looking for intersections. So I see there's 3 there, 3 there, 3 there, means that has to be a 3. Then I look at those 3's. Do I have 2 other numbers in these 2 rows that force that to be a double? No, not yet. So I move on to the next number. Looking for, again, like I said, low-hanging fruit. This is going to be the more boring part of things. So because I've got a 5 there, that's got to have to be a 5. That's going to have to be a 5. That creates an X-Wing situation that has already been solved, so I can't do anything there. I do know X-Wing terminology. I forget what a Y-Wing is. I'm not very well versed on Sudoku stuff. I'm just a casual player, I would say. Almost have the ability to do a double there, but guess what? That 7 and the 4, well, there's already a 4 there, so I would need a different number in conjunction with the 7 to get a double situation there. Let's see. There, that's going to have to be an 8. Cool. Now we're going on this one, so I need a 4 and a 6 because I've got a 4 in that column. That's going to have to be the 6 and the 4, and that means that has to be the 4. So that was a nice little gift there. So that's going to have to be the 6. Usually if I fill in a number, I look for other ones of that same number. And that was nice. And that also opens up a double like I was talking about. So there's a 6 and a 1 here, and there's a 1 and a 6 here. So that neither of these rows can have a 6 or a 1 in either of those rows in this block. So I'm going to fill in notes for that double. And that's going to force something else, because in this block there's a 5, which means those can't be 5s, which means those we already know can't be 5s. That has to be the 5. So I'll look at my 5s real quick. Does that open up new 5s? Does that open up new 9s? It does. So we're off to a pretty decent start. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here. I remember I had that 7, and now I've got 9s. So this is going to have to be a 7 and 9 double, which means I need 1, 2. Because there's a 2 in this column, that's going to be my 1. There's my 2, which means there's my 2. There's my 1 and my 6. There's my 3 and my 2. And it's going pretty well. Like at this point, the game is practically playing itself, largely because I was able to get that good start. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need a 6 here. And see, now I'm just kind of, I'm not really using any particular methodology. I'm just filling things in as I see them. And really, if you kind of play using this strategy, once you get those first blocks in, those first 3 blocks like we did over here, that really makes it easier to get the rest done. So this is going to have to be a 7 and an 8 in that row. There's my 7, there's my 8, because the 8 there meant that had to be the 7. So now that has to be the 7 and the 9. Anyway, so hopefully, me putting in the time to discover those patterns that I always see at the start of the game are helpful to you. Obviously, they are helpful to me. So that's going to be a 7. So, and anyway, yeah, like I said, I'm just a casual player. Sorry if I got some terminology wrong, but like I said, I just do this kind of for just for personal, focusing my mind. I can't seem to stop this ad. Anyway, you can go get a loan from these people, apparently. But yeah, so have fun playing this. Hopefully that beginning strategy helps you solve them easier. And like I always listen to, personally, I always listen to Beach House when I'm playing Sudoku. And those two things with that music and doing this at the same time, like really help kind of focus my mind. And it's very therapeutic. So play some Sudoku, focus your mind, and challenge yourself on the Master, formerly known as Evil level, if you haven't already. I hope that this little demonstration of how to get started is helpful to you. Thank you for watching.